Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, o see them yopo.
Memo akwaba ediba PENDREAM TV so metro say no dey kan wuti abe subscribe to channel no click bell no so say the news to our so sabet me aka no wati ni tem. Kevin Taylor and the video be abo montia video Kevin Taylor dia babon prototype video national 40 years plan 2015 John Mahama etiekuo ana Professor Botwe Mudano omo draw omo consult to Ghanaians draw 40 years Ghana plan na nka Ghana president bi aba audition na ohwe na omo build Ghana through that plan na ka Ghana be omanya omanfo nyina ni beje ho na so amane sa ekopem sa Akuffo Addo ebetina akonya iso na ministers ni bi ba bontin be ka sa 40 years national plan na Mahama masa commission Professor Botwe Kwesi Botwe mo draw ye no nya de omo betimi ediso na ministers be senior minister osafomafo ene this man I'll be any say Kasama MPP a friend Professor Addo omo ba bontin ebe boss 40 years national Ghana national plan ego ya omanfa anya yuma na Kevin Taylor the video evidence a prototype video anka omutimi follows our plan na Ghana ebetimi ya men kasa bibli insaka video no pesa mbabo na so ahwe kwan vision na Mahama ewa na ko pesa Ghana so of time ne so ye no ma draw plan e no ni akonya so nti omo hand over the map Akuffo Addo so omo end so yenko video.
This is Nana Akuffo Addo being handed the National Development Plan by the commission led by Dr. Botwe.
In the last 2 years, the commission, which was appointed by former President Mahama, completed a draft for a 40-year development plan and have submitted it to the President Akuffo Addo. The chair of the commission, Professor Botwe, said the entire members collectively wish to tender in their resignation.
And now, our work having been done, Mr. President, this was the most important part of our mission. We, as a commission, chaired by me, Mr. President, would like to collectively, Mr. President, stand down, bring our tenure as a commission to a close. Not so much because any law or statute or constitution requires us to, but in order to give you, Mr. President, the opportunity to recompose, recast the commission in accordance with their own vision and priorities, as well, Mr. President, as the supreme interest of our country.
President Akuffo Addo said the government appreciates their contribution for drafting the 40-year development plan.
On behalf of the people of Ghana, my government, and on my own behalf, I express my sincere gratitude to you, Chairperson, for the policy direction you provided, and to you, the Director General, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, for the organizational and technical leadership that got this document out. From the little I know of the operations of the Commission, I'm aware that each and every one of you, the members of the Commission, have made significant input into this document. Your experience and knowledge have no doubt been brought to bear in the drafting of the document. I wish again to thank you all for the contribution you have made.
So when Akuffo Addo came to power, or was sworn in as the president, the commission actually went to Akuffo Addo and said, Nana, plan way a 40-year plan and ye NDC nkwa and they put it together. Ye nyina otumfo ka ho, mampon hene ka ho, ye de ohene keto ye a Mr. Boache o ka ho. Wiase Ghana ye nyina ye ba together and they put this document way together. Enti Nana Akuffo Addo from day one. From day one, he knew that there was a plan that has been given to him. Now remember, when the plan was being put together, this man, let me show you something. I could anytime see penny be dangerous. We should be very careful about them. You see this man, your friend, Doc Mr. Adai. He says he's a professor. In 2015, when the commission was working, this man was sitting on the sidelines telling Ghana for say, Ghana needs a 10-year development plan. So that time that commission was working and making sure say Ghana will go by this 10-year plan. This man was in Ghana, and Nana Addo Akufo Addo did not touch a single thing in the manifesto. In fact, in 2015, Nana Addo Akufo Addo campaigning on free SHS, which was already in Ghana's constitution and also in the National Development Plan. It was basically in it. This man refused to tell Ghanaians say the free SHS na Akufo Addo can wasem no. It is already being implemented. It is already in the constitution. Also, a professor. All that they did was that they started to run down the National Development Plan because we say 40 years. Say they are not going to live to 40 years. So they wanted a 5-year thing or a 7-year, 10 years thing. Osafo and so by Ghana for this was Osafo said after the plan was put together. Osafo said government won't follow 40-year development plan after they handed over the National Development Plan to Akuffo Addo. So you could see some penny these are the people who for a long time, they have derailed us from our development. It is not like Bonsambi Tibebio. They know the problem. They know how the solving of the problem. But because of their tribe and their foolish political affiliation, what they do every time, and they say, if the NDC comes up with anything good, they will crash it down. And this is a man onimsanya de obedi 40 years was asasi we so osafma for 92 nansen obewu Professor Adai when this at 80 day nansen obewu say they don't care. That is why Professor Adai was saying we need a 10-year plan. Osafma was say we don't need a national development plan. And the question here is, what have they done? In fact, the NDPC, that's the National Development Plan Commission, was put together by the Constitution. And its vision should be bigger than a political party's vision. In the Mahama as one can say the NDP and that's the National Development Plan Commission and that's the National Development Plan now you put it together for 40 years because Constitution put it together the political parties ideologies and I say their manifesto it should not be superior than the NDP. So what happens is a political party about power. Because the NDP had a National Development Plan, I say we need to make sure within this for 40 years, these are our major priorities. You are a political party. You can decide to throw in one or two of your manifesto policies, which is fine. But the main focus, the broader picture, should be on the National Development Plan. And that is what we was calling about national vision. Now, there should be a national vision before respective political parties, ideas come to play. Now, what we are experiencing now is that people are putting political parties' ideologies or vision ahead of the National Development Plan. And John Dramani Mahama say, the reason why under his leadership, he also made sure Ghanaians came together and say, Yabenya National Development Plan for 40 years, was because parties will come in and derail us from our national agenda. In 2012, John Mahama actually wanted Ghana to have a national agenda. In fact, free SHS is inside the Constitution, and the Constitution basically put together the National Development Plan. So basically, if you are implementing free SHS, you are implementing what the Constitution wants. So when somebody comes and says free SHS now, you need to understand the Constitution has said we need free SHS, but the Constitution stated that progressively. So we need to abide by the Constitution. Because at the end of the day, every single Ghanaian in Ghana needs to abide by the Constitution. It is a Constitution that's progressively. We need to make sure it synchronizes with our major development plan. Into you see railways, I see a build Buankra, I see one edifice, a national stadium. Everybody around the world will recognize that here is where it happens. You see to me a building a city in the future, in the next 10-15 years, a city, a building in our eyes, it is there. So we are always supposed to think big than to bring our personal priorities into play. And that is what Nana Akufo Addo and the NPP did. When they took over power, even after John Mahama handed over the National Development Plan to them to study and go by it, they came out and Osafo told Ghanaians say they will not follow the 40-year development plan. That means the NPP government from day one, they have gone against the Constitution. And Osafo, he's not a small animal. Osafo is not a small dog. Osafo is not a small sack. Nano sa botono or your MPP mu penyi pa. So when people come into government with this kind of ideology and mentality not to go by our standards, our vision, then it means we will end up where we have ended up today. And the NPP does not have any focus. They don't know what they are tackling. It is a study pa. You will see, say, NPP for the abroad Bibia, and I'm going to show you when the National Development Commission was put together. Yet thorough work. Thorough worker. They run around the whole nation. Nyama ebe in the next 40 years, we will all have to come together and rally around as a nation and make sure say, this a year country, we are all moving in a direction. So when you get the president of the Akuffo Addo, now the senior advisor or staff mafo, now or staff mafo, I don't know say bunch bottle. No, because a 40-year plan as well. Then we have elected fools because they are not even ready to consider what we want. It is about what they want. That is why today we have moved away from the National Development Plan. We are rather looking at a stupid, senseless cathedral that has taken the taxpayers' money for no reason. The moment you don't have a National Development Plan, a fool can come and tell you, let's build a national cathedral. Now, God wants us to look healthy. God wants us to be able to take care of ourselves. God wants us, we as a nation, pay taxes, and at the end of the day, those taxes will help us. And into Jesus Christ to call Jerusalem. Now, man, for go sorry them now. Or say, give what is to Caesar, and what is to God to God. Into Nyankopon Krenim, the division of labor, and where every money should go. We are not supposed to take taxes money to go build a cathedral. We are all supposed to come to a consensus. Say, this is what we want to do. Say, cathedral, fine. But not somebody's only interest. That is stupid. But let me show you what we missed and why the NPP and NDC are never the same. The NDC has always thought of Ghanaians, and they have always made sure that Ghana vision Ghana it is years and years vision we can fall within to help us and also Yechirimba. Now the National Development Plan Commission they did some great job, and if from 2015 asade we kabo mu no anke yatena ho anke yedisua ankende asantememu anase Accra, all part of Ghana, anka enya the needed development. Now this is what they put together. This is the National Development Plan. They basically in their presentation all the way in 2015 they were able to put a 3D video together to show Ghanaians this is what we are envisioning, this is what we are thinking what should happen, this is how we have to think. They did not just say it, they did not just interview, they also put animations and 3D animations together to make Ghanaians have a clear understanding of where we are heading. But Professor from Addo monomoti bench and no didi atam say I'm up 10 years because Professor Addo will not live for 40 years. Or he will not live for 40 years. So they are selfish. They did what they did. They wanted. Akuffo Addo with this 78 to say one is in the football age, real age, I'm 92 bypass 2. Now let me show you what the National Development Plan, the job they did. If we had followed the plan, if we Ghanaians had followed that National Development Plan introduced by the NDC, this is what was going to happen. Buankra Kumasi, they showed Ghanaians the 3D, how they were going to put Buankra in the national vision. So this is in the National Development Plan. These are some of the 3D visuals. And remember, when Majo Mahama kwa Ashanti region eko see Kejetia. After Kejetia project, Buankra Inland Port, this is what they were saying it was going to look like. It's not a bigger project, a project what Ghana yenyina ebetumi a benefit here. Sanka Buankra NDC tina so and nkomo follow salvation na after KJTIA any Kumasi airport no any hospitals no the next on the bill was Buankra 3D visuals omo ye kan NDP National Development Plan no and am yichire no and the Buankra way enkwasiafo we ka kire mo etamotufo esi kete so de ne kwotena Buankra ebo futurugu no ho esa ne besi benhia Buankra na ewe. They have not followed anything we want. They have always followed their interests. They have followed what they want. That is why we are here. Intinka NDP no anka obi disa Mr. Ade anka omu nyina gi tumu na anka you follow NDP na anka ende Buankra na mechire no it would have been implemented because na NDC for agree be say national agenda, national vision. These are things that will be our priority. A cry any priority. A cry any the panel. Every day we allow idiots to lead us, and that is why we are here today. Now, in the NDP, the National Development Project, these are some of the 3D visuals they told us. Schools, any primary to senior high schools. These were schools they were going to build. And it's like John Mahama started a free SHS, a e-blocks, There were other projects. Now, you go paper swa. 3D visuals. Now, National Development Vision, a woman, and also Anka Bainbiaba obey. So basically, when it comes to education, this was the plan. From primary to senior high school. And it's now who said John Mahama, they tried to implement a little bit in the National Development Plan. It moved free SHS, e-blocks around the nation. It wasn't nothing. It was because the NDC were going by the NDP, the National Development Plan. And these are some of the 3D visuals. They told Ghana for Mr. Adai or Savma, they saw it, they knew it. But they didn't want to do it because they will not live for 40 years. Because Omo will say Ghana for no Jimmy. Omo will say MPP a party Omo Ghana for say Jimmy. Because when you go into the constitution, every single thing about free SHS and I say senior high school, Korabeko school, it is stated clearly in the constitution. Now when you read the constitution, chapter 5, fundamental human rights and freedom. Now when you go to 25, education rights, okay, B, paragraph now, a year 25, a year B. This is what it says. Secondary education in its different forms, including technical and vocational education, shall be made generally available and accessible to all by every appropriate means, and in particular, and in particular by the progressive introduction of free education, and in particular by a progressive free introduction of free education. So the constitution itself, a catcher say free SHS na yeah. Na I was say ma ya adwene da ho eni se ye ni jimi mu I was say ye nkakra se ne be ya en lose quality no bebe eden we can implement free SHS but still it will go with the quality. It's constitution kraka. And International John Mahama and Professor Nano Pokwajiman, they took their time to invest in university building. They took their time to invest in vocational building. They took their time to invest in senior high schools, even primaries. So you realize they were going by the National Development Plan, because constitution and also aban bia diso. Because yes abanya ye wo sikada honti I will say my adwene ye adwuma yentumi mpo yesi MSC enfite enye fita one day. We need to gradually do that. It is a national development plan now. These are people we are not even entertained. We are not supposed to entertain them in our conversation. We are ingrate. They have brought us here because the things I'm showing you now, no, the videos I'm playing for you to see, they are all in national development. Senka yinina stick to that for the past 8 years. Akuffo Addo anka we see free SHS ni nyina wie ama kan kora nya school ko baby papa ama educational quality wom. Senka nkofo we di so ama menchro de na e national development plan mu a mumunim a nkofo we etwa motro. There was a plan for the NDP national development plan na e wo mu say Kumasi race course. After John Mahama estate kejetia owie okoye central marketer edu phase 2 no, the idea in the national development plan no na 3D visuals no, the idea was to change Kumasi race course railway lines no. Kumasi was part of the national development plan railway line and it's almost starting with kejetia and oba central market in the national development plan ukoma you will see something like this. Inti senka yenuanom ayawa santimemu ya mfa yakoma ena sebio tribe ne to aba inti wo kejetia no a central market no. This was what was going to happen to race course, and this is in the national development plan. Akuffo Addo has a copy. They have the hard copy, they have the soft copy. Ninyina da how they see it, they ignored it because ye Jimmy, because you're the tribe na your politics, because a party be balance obese obwa Ghana near the akwasi ekase we teni we ahuneni we kroboni we ngrani into we onya keni ya the san kwasi ade to aba na ya betena hande enti kageti na something was supposed to tell you say aban bia ba odwena santeman ho aban bia ba o wadwene pa kofokro ya santini ba ya wo no ose okoye de kwa asafo interchange betuma dwunso afa ho nyina. He could not pick any project. He did not go by any plan. But this was the next plan for Santimine. Race course was going to be changed because from airport to Kejetia to Central Market, now we need a fluid transportation. Ewa Santimemu. Inti race course was the next thing, and it is in the National Development Planner. John Dramani Mahama is setting it up. John Mahama did not care. Say that railway lines in Akuffo Santimemu because Nkwa Santimemu was going to other regions. So the NDC were thinking about the bigger vision, creating Ghana and opening Ghana up. In fact, when you go into the National Development Plan, these were some of the things. In fact, the NDC and Ghanaians said we wanted a national stadium. Oko Kurobia Swa and the Oko Accra Sports Stadium and the Oko Kumasi Sports Stadium, they don't befit Ghana. Apart from na Accra Sports Stadium, Kumasi Sports Stadium, Cape Coast ne Tamale Stadium wono, we wanted a national stadium na enyem primprim ani ebe dwene ho. Say in the future no, we will need a national stadium. We will be proud, an Olympic national stadium. Everything will be in there. It will represent Ghana. These were all in they were all in the National Development Plan.
The Black Star Stadium is a futuristic facility that will be built under Ghana's long-term national development plan to host a major international sporting event such as the FIFA World Cup or the Olympic Games. It will be to Ghana what the Statue of Liberty is to America or the Eiffel Tower is to France. It will be an iconic tribute to Ghanaian ingenuity, vision, and hard work. The stadium's state-of-the-art features will draw from the best of the 21st century technology, engineering, and architecture. It will be eco-friendly and a powerhouse of social, economic, and sporting activities. The entire roof will be made up of solar panels to provide electricity for the stadium. Solid and liquid waste generated at the stadium will be recycled to provide additional energy. There will be 4,000 underground parking spaces equivalent to a 4-story building. The 5 points of the star will contain the following: a hotel, offices, conference facilities, entertainment facilities, recreational facilities, shops, restaurants, a world-class sports medicine and research facility, and a national sports museum. The stadium will be linked by road and rail as part of the National Rail and Highways network that will go through all 10 regional capitals. The Black Star Stadium is expected to attract millions of tourists every year from within and outside Ghana. It will provide thousands of jobs directly and indirectly to the youth of Ghana. The future of Ghana. Dream it, plan it, live it. Brought to you by the National Development Planning Commission.
This is how you build a nation. All the way in 2014-15, this is what John Mahama, under his leadership, this was the plan. This was the plan. And there Yana said they handed over this soft copy, hard copy to Akuffo Addo. Let's follow it. Let us just follow it. Or Safuma for Nano Sebanchi Boto Bekache Ghana for say we will not follow it. They threw it away. And then Kwasiafo we say more power BM. For almost 8 years, Kuraba I will handle almost a Ghana. 8 years. Oma Bobisia 1 trillion. And the Baumian and Ghana say e-vision, e-DND, Ghana card. Jimmy. These are things. For 7 years, they have not touched one thing in it. Who talked about a national cathedral? We are talking about schools. We are talking about railway lines. We are talking about a national development building a Cr0. They were able to even put a street concept together. It's the Jubilee House. A street concept how in the next 40 years, Ghana streets are supposed to be. Because answer John Mahama free power no. That is when he brought the Ayalolo buses, and people were saying, na Ayalolo no, then on lane in Accra. Lanes were created in the busy part of Accra for Ayalolo. John Dramani Mahama knew in the next 40 years in Ghana, not only Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, northern region, the public transportation was going to be necessary. So they were gradually using Ayalolo as a pilot to see, if even Accra, the most busiest place in Ghana, no, we are able to create roads for Ayalolo, then it means our transport system can be expanded in the next 40 years. Send by every street in Ghana, no, the street concept, you will be able to use this to guide us. Internet, there was a guidance. That was what we were supposed to follow. So any exact crowd, at least 90% of the idea was supposed to come from the National Development Plan. So when you go to the street concept, they had something called the street concept. So you see, no busa why did John Mahama build the Segleme housing system? That was the concept. And we introduce Ayalolo buses. So gradually, in 40 years, would have had bus lanes. When a city like Segleme, unya 20 or 30 around the capital or around the nation, or 100 in 40 years, do you know the kind of country you are building? Nobody can say it is not possible. Now, nobody thought KJTR could be sitting there like that. Everything is possible. It's giving yourself the plan and making sure you go by the plan. But about 90% of the plan, Toma, what I am showing you is possible. And this was what John Mahama was doing. And remember, John Mahama was president for 3 years, 8 months. And now Segleme, KJTR, Kaswa, Pokwase, Rage, UGMC, Konfanoche, Afari Military, Kumasi Airport, Sunyani Airport, all these things around. The Tamale Regional Hospital, and the UDS. It is only 3 years, because when you're going by a plan, it is easy. When you have a national plan, it is easy to go by it. Because the plan is already there. You are now, because Sikan Beka wonsa. Nasa one plan, Sikan Beka wonsa obeseno. You need to always plan before the money arrives. And John Mahama ne end this ni Ghana for your plan. So 40 years, this is what we have to go by.